Hello, coolers, and welcome back to Viva Barca. Welcome to the home of everything Barcelona, where we are going to be discussing the latest developing stories. We start with Pablo Torre, as it has been reported that the 19-year-old Barca midfield sensation could start against Victoria Pleasant tomorrow. We are going to be discussing on that as we move ahead. Then, to conclude this episode, talking about this report, claiming that manager Xavi is prioritizing the signing of a new right back over a defensive midfielder. We are also going to be looking at that report as we move ahead. So guys, before we get right into it, please do ensure to subscribe if you haven't. If you're just coming across the channel for the very first time, you are highly welcome. Consider liking the video and please watch right up to the very end. Pablo Torre has endured a difficult start to life as a Barcelona player. Given the competition for places in the midfield department, Pablo Torre has found game time extremely hard to come by. But according to Sport, Torre could be in line to make his first ever start for Barcelona when they take on Victoria Pleasant in the UEFA Champions League tomorrow. Signed from Racing Santander in the summer, the teenage midfielder came into the season after enjoying a brilliant last season when he had helped his former club earn promotion to the second division in Spain. While Xavi has wanted Torre to stay in the first team dynamics, he has been unable to grant him meaningful minutes on the pitch. Indeed, the youngster is the only first team member to not start a single match across all competitions this season. He has made just 3 appearances, totaling up to only 30 minutes of action so far. But Tuesday's game against Victoria Pleasant could finally be the occasion where Torre gets his first ever start as a Barca player. It was against the Czech outfit that the teenager made his senior debut for Barca, and he could earn his first starting versus them as well. Sergio Busquets is ruled out for that contest due to suspension, and with the game being inconsequential, Xavi could look to rest Pedri, who has been playing relentlessly, while Frankie de Jong could also be given a breather. It could pave the way for Torre and someone like Frankie say also get rare starting opportunities. If that happens, it will be a huge occasion for the 19-year-old and he will need to make the most of it. We talked about a potential loan move in January doing the rounds. So tomorrow's game against Victoria Pleasant will be an inconsequential game. That is a game that does not have meaning, whether we win or we don't win. Of course, it's not something that we are interested to watch, by the way, because we know that we have a disappointing campaign in the Champions League this season. Of course, players like Pablo Torre, Franquisi can get rare starting opportunities because from what many reports have been speculating, Xavi could rest many key players tomorrow. Many, of course, Lewandowski will not be available. Busquets won't be available. Maybe Pedri or maybe Frankie de Jong might not start that match. At least to have a rest, knowing that important games are coming up in La Liga, where we need to concentrate on and not to lose focus because the La Liga title race this year won't be an easy one, as Real Madrid are also strong enough and they are the ones still topping the league table with 1 point. So it is. I think it makes sense that Xavi gives grants rest to some of these players who have been playing week in, week out. Definitely they need some rest and so that they can come fresh when we play our next game in La Liga against Almeria in the weekend that is coming. So Pablo Torre has been a player that have played just 3 games so far, and definitely he has not been happy with the situation because when he was bought from Racing Santander, he came to Barca thinking that he could have more game time than the reality. Because right now he hardly plays. Xavi decided that okay, he should be in the first team dynamics because just I think when he came, Xavi opted to send him back to the B team, to the reserves, but the player was not happy. He voluntarily went stubborn that he will not even play some games for the B team, and Xavi had to understand his situation, and he was called back to the first team dynamics. So Pablo Torre have been in the first team dynamics, but most of the time he's just there in the squad, but rarely does he even feature in matches, always on the bench. So I think the game against Victoria Pleasant, the fact that it does not have meaning, it's inconsequential, it's just for formality. So I think Xavi could likely just start him I know he have not made a start. He have not made a start before. All his appearances have been from the bench. So you can fancy Pablo Torre to be one of the starters, especially if Xavi rests some of the key players. For example, if Pedri is not there, or maybe if Frankie de Jong, Busquets also is not available, then you can expect Frankie C or Pablo Torre to get a rest start. Then on to the next story of discussion. Heading into the January window, Barcelona are set to enter the transfer market once again as they look to further reinforce their squad despite splurging heavily during the summer. Reports suggest that the Blaugrana have identified two positions that need to be strengthened at the earliest. The club want to sign a new right back as well as a new defensive midfielder in the winter. And now, according to Xavi Miguel of Dario AS, manager Xavi Hernandez is prioritizing the signing of a new right back over a pivot midfielder at this very point. As things stand, Xavi has Hector Bellerin and Sergio Roberto as his primary options in the right back position, but neither are seen as quality options, which has often forced Xavi to utilize the likes of Jules Koundé, Ronald Araujo, and even Alejandro Balde as a right-sided fullback. Bellerin was signed only this past summer, but he was never the first choice option for Xavi or Barcelona. The Catalans had tried to sign Cesar Azpilicueta, Joan Foyt, and Thomas Meunier, and settled on the former as now ace as a cheaper alternative. But the Spaniard has not been good enough in the few matches he has played so far. As for Roberto, why he has looked good in bursts, his injury issues continue to be an issue. So with the situation being as it is, Xavi first wants to sign a new right back before focusing his attention to a new defensive midfielder. Diogo Dalot of Manchester United remains a top target for Barca, and even though his contract expires next year, the Red Devils are expected to trigger a 12-month extension. His signing is therefore seen as complicated now. So it remains to be seen who Barca decides to go after in the January window. But as things stand, Xavi wants to bring in a new right back as a priority before he focuses on a midfielder to cover for and competes with Sergio Busquets, who is a captain, of course. So manager Xavi is looking for a right back. We have been talking about this numerous times that Barca have two priorities that they want to go for: a right back and a DM. So this report is claiming that Xavi prioritizes a new right back over a DM. So let's see how it's gonna look like. So guys, with that, we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, bye for now.